Hi, my name is Shauna Sweet and I'm a cyclocross racer, in particular single-speed cyclocross. I got into cyclocross because, I think initially because I like to ride my bike in the woods, and then I had some friends that said, hey, you should try cyclocross, and it seemed like a really suitably bad idea. And I really got interested in riding off-road. I did a couple of really great clinics with some of the elite racers here and some of the teams, and I fell in love with it. It was the best way to be completely ridiculous on a bicycle, and it was muddy, and it was wet, and it was gross, and it was hard. It required me to do things that I found really scary and challenging, and it gave me a chance every time I went around the course to try something new and get a little better, and it's not every day that you get to try something that's scary. In college, I was a rower. I dabbled in running. And then I think largely because someone told me that I couldn't and that I would never be a runner, I actually started doing ultra marathons and marathons after college, including doing a run across the country, which I was really blessed to be part of, which was a much bigger endeavor than just about running. In 2008, I was part of a really incredible experience with a really amazing group of folks, and it was called the Run for the Fallen. And we ran 1 mile for every service member killed in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and it started in California and finished here in DC. We finished with a memorial 10K that ended at Arlington Cemetery. We placed a flag every mile for thousands of miles, and it was incredible. And so one of the reasons actually that I'm here at Rose PT is to get back to running because I want to participate again as a team member. I didn't really know what I was in for. There's no way that you can actually understand what 4,000 miles is going to look or feel like. And there was no way that I could anticipate what that run was going to be. And in all honesty, if someone said, people always hear that and they say, oh, wow, you ran across the country, that's really hard. That's so incredible. Running that distance is the easy part of that effort. The hard part is actually committing to what that means. I mean, you can't run across miles of this country carrying an American flag, right? You can't go through that and not be affected. When I finished with the Run for the Fallen and then went to Afghanistan, ran an ultra, after all that happened, my hip flexors were shot. My hip flexors were shot, my hips were shot. Everything hurt. It hurt to go downstairs. It hurt to go upstairs. I just sit to come downstairs. I really tweaked myself pretty badly. And I remember at the time I was finishing my master's degree and I was working at a bike shop, and someone told me to get on this really nice bike that I could afford because I was working at a bike shop, and it felt like flying. It was the coolest thing I have ever felt. And it was really fun. I mean, going fast and understanding what that meant and taking risks in a different way. And I also remember those initial races that I did. I felt strong, I felt fast, and all of the things that I think I'd never thought to embrace about myself as an athlete. Those were suddenly assets. And that was part of what made cross a sport that I took to like a duck to water. And for the first time, I remember going around that course going, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. I think I'm gonna just upend myself in the mud, and I did. And I love it. And I felt like I was so wholly myself that it wasn't something that I wanted to give up. So for me, cyclocross has been really empowering in a number of different ways, right? Like I said, I mean, doing something that scares you, doing something you swear you can't do, and then coming back and being successful is so profoundly important. So when it came to doing clinics, I think what motivates me now, it's hard for me to reconstruct how I originally kind of got into it, but what motivates me right now is there's a lot of things. So one is that it's really empowering. I would absolutely encourage I think that women should be involved in cycling. I think that it's a great community. I think it's really empowering. And I want women to feel like it's accessible, because I think that a lot of people look at cyclocross and it looks really hard. And I think they don't think that it's accessible because there are a lot of skills that we don't typically think of in cycling. There's a different relationship that you have to your own body, to your bike, that's different. And so I like to put on clinics to help them obviously get the skills to make cyclocross accessible. And then I also think that clinics serve another purpose, which is that if you look in the cycling community, everybody has like jerseys, right? Everybody has shirts and they've all got the same color and they all like, and it's awesome. Teams are amazing. But to somebody who's not on a team, that's hard, right? Because again, you feel like maybe you don't belong there. And so one of the things that's been super great about doing these clinics, it's enabled me to bridge across multiple teams. And I have women from all kinds of different teams in the area who are coming to the clinics, who are also demonstrating. You know, I'll call on, women to demonstrate things. And I think that it's really awesome to present this kind of unified community, because that's what you're coming into. And it's been a really exciting platform for that reason. I want women to be the best they can be so that they can elevate competition for each other. And it's not about excusing yourself because you're new. It doesn't matter. Respect each other, respect the sport, and be the best competition you can be, because that's what's fun. Even if it's the best competition for yourself, right? I don't care if you're competing against other people, you're competing against yourself, but be the best you can. And part of that, and part of cyclocross, are those things that are hard. I never thought I was good enough. And I think that part of who I am as an athlete now is about trying to change that culture. Don't look outside for validation, right? For someone to tell you that you are good enough, to that you're waiting for someone to grant you a pass to be an athlete, because it's more than that, and it's also less than that. So that's a big kind of push for me right now in my involvement in the community. Okay, professional narrative, personal narrative, athletic narrative. I could certainly sit here at this stage and tell you some beautiful story about how it all threads together, and at the end of the day, look at me, here I am. It didn't happen that way. I fell completely backwards into what I do. I mean, everything is a journey, right? You don't ever expect, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, where would you be? I don't know, right? But yet, sitting here, people look at me, they're like, oh, it makes so much sense. No, not really. I mean, not really. I mean, life looks more like this, like a cyclocross race, than it does like a time trial. At least in my case.